Our son Jeremy is a senior now, and we've learned a lot with our first two kids, and I guess we just wanted to share that information because the first time you go through it, I know we didn't really know what we were doing, and I'm a researcher, so I like to try to find out as much as I can. The second time was a little easier, and I missed a few things with Jeremy, but we kind of know what we were doing. So I just wanted to share a little bit about the process from a parent's point of view. And if you have any questions or along the way, feel free to just raise your hand or jump in there. So this is a guide for possibly panicked parents. Where do you start? In the handouts that you received, there's a packet for a mom and pop questionnaire and a kids questionnaire. And that is a great place to start. I don't know about your kids, but in our family, we're actually 5 introverts. So our house is kind of quiet. We can ask Jeremy, how was your day? It was good. It was good. Okay. So when we started talking about college, it was kind of hard to get them to talk. They were, wanted to do their own thing. And so I found this, actually it was our orthodontist that recommended it. And he said, hey, this is really helpful. So I made a copy and we asked our oldest son, CJ, to fill it out. And then Tim and I both filled it out separately. And then we sat down together and we went through it. So what it kind of lets you do is get a sense of what your kids are thinking, and it gives them a sense of what you're thinking. You can start it whenever. 9th grade is not too early. And you can do it more than one time during the year because kids change their minds, even in senior year. We have a friend at church. Her son really wasn't interested in going to college. And then this year as a senior, he decided, yeah, he might want to go to college. So all of a sudden it was like, okay, what do you do? So I think fill that out separately. And then on the back, there's a sheet for the kids. What are your goals? And that was helpful, especially with our younger son. He's pretty quiet. And we found out that one of his goals was to become immersed in other languages and cultures. And I wouldn't have known that if he hadn't filled out the questions on there. Some of those seem a little bit way out, but if there isn't one that works for your child, they can just make up their own and put it in there. So just to get a sense of what their goals or their dreams might be. The other thing important when talking about it is just to get a sense of what you're able to contribute financially. I think it's good to start out from the very beginning because college is expensive. If you have more than one child, it's more expensive. And so you want to be honest with your kids and just say, this is what we're able to do. And we'll talk about this at the end, but you don't want to jeopardize your own retirement to put your kids through school. I know sometimes you want to do the best for them, we all do, but you have to also take care of yourselves because they really can't get loans for retirement too easily. So it's good just from right in the beginning just to say, this is what we were thinking, we have about this much, or we're able to help you this much a year, and that will give you some parameters when you're looking at the schools. So start early in high school. Feel free to repeat it because kids change their ideas over time. Other things besides the questions that are in that handout, for the book Admission Matters, and I have a bunch of books up here you're welcome to look through. You're welcome to borrow them. Some of them are from the library. I'll tell you my favorite ones. But what their academic interests are, what kind of students are they? Do they need to be number one? Do they want to be like a big fish in a little pond? Or are they okay not being number one? So that my niece, she's a senior right now, and she realized she needs to be somewhere, she can't go somewhere where she's going to be near the bottom or in the middle. She needs to be somewhere that she feels confident. How do you learn best in a large or small class? What activities outside of class matter the most to you? If you're into skiing, then take that into consideration when you do that choice. How important is prestige? Do you want a diverse college where there's people from all around the world of maybe different backgrounds? And what kind of social or cultural environment would you like best? And last of all, where do you want to live for the next few years? Because college is a chance to try out different parts of the country. Some kids may be more homebodies, they may be more comfortable staying at home and commuting. Some kids might be explorers and they want to go away. Right now I'm thinking warm and sunny looks pretty good. So that's something to think about too. Where do they want to live? So the two sides to choosing a college for the kids, it's kind of hard. They're still figuring out what they like, what they, who they are. But I guess I would just say a fit. I know my niece, when she went, I think she went to 8 different colleges this summer. And she was happy with a lot of them, but none of them felt like it. I don't know, sometimes you think it's like getting married. You find the one, you fall in love. But they kept going and going. Finally, Elizabethtown, she said, Mom, this is it. This is the one. So it's not really a tangible thing, but it just feels right. Maybe the school culture, or they're just comfortable. But then you have to look at the practical side, too. You have to look at the cost and the financial aid, the distance or how far it is. Do they have what the child is interested in? Any job opportunities on campus or in that area? Because sometimes kids will need to work. What are the career opportunities coming from that school? And can they get in? So different types of colleges. There are two-year programs. We were talking with a friend whose son is interested possibly in being a nurse. And she said, you know, if I were him, I would do like an LPN program and then get a job and then have the employer pay for the rest of the schooling. That makes sense. So if you're interested in like in the medical thing, that might be good. Or some people start at a two-year college and then they transfer to a four-year school. And if you're doing that, you want to just make sure that the two-year college where you're going has an agreement with like a four-year school that they'll accept their credits because you want those to transfer. And then there's different types of four-year colleges. Liberal arts means that kids are exposed to a broad variety of subjects. They're a little more concerned with learning, writing process, as opposed to a pre-professional school, like a program like pre-med, pre-law, a business program, physical therapy, something like that. And the last is like a university, and that is a school that has both the college or the undergraduate part and after college programs, like for master's degree programs or PhD programs, often larger schools. So then you just gather possibilities, like what are some possible places? You might want to talk with your guidance counselor or any teachers that you're comfortable with. The library has the Fisk Guide to Colleges and the Insider's Guide to the Colleges, and they're nice because they have like a couple pages on each school. And the Fisk Guide has, if you like this school, you might want to look at these 5. And then it has like just a short description of what like school is like, what the atmosphere is like, academically, financially. There's college fairs here, and there's fairs in the area that you can go to, and then you can talk with folks from a wide variety of schools. And you can also go online, and more schools, it's like almost having a visit when you go online. You can check it, and you can do like a tour just from your home, being online. They just take you around the school, and so you can get a sense before you maybe make a trip to see the school. So some online sites are College Board, which is also where folks register to take their standardized tests. That has information. They have a program called Finding the Right College. And Peterson's Student Edge is a compatibility tool. And I think, Dr. Cugliari, are they going to be able to have a connection to this that they can link on these sites? Okay, you don't have to worry about writing these down. You'll be able to then just have a copy of the PowerPoint and just go right through there. And then College Confidential is kind of like a big chat room for kids and for parents. And you can go on and look at specific schools, or you can just say, you know, we haven't done this before, or, you know, my child is looking at this school, or financial aid. So it's kind of just a discussion forum. So then after doing that, start making a list, and maybe your kid is interested in Penn State. Maybe they're a sports fan, you know, and put that down. But just put down any schools that seem to fit. And then the thing that I just found out, like I had used this common data set for years. It helps because it tells you what the school is looking for very specifically when they are doing their admissions process. And it also has information about what they offer. And I just want to show that to you. But this college data is a great place to go. Let me just see if I can find there we go. And I want to show you Penn State because they have a profile on here. So it'll come up like this. And you just type in college data and then whatever school you want to check out. And all the schools have to submit this data about every year about the college. And so here they have like an overview, but I'm going to go to the admissions tab here. And you can see exactly the scores of the kids that they accepted. So it talks about here. And this is what they look for. So what's important to them is the GPA and standardized test. Those are the two most important things for Penn State main campus. And then it shows you the kids that were admitted. It gives their grade point averages. Here, the average GPA was 3.59, and it shows you their SAT scores. So the average math was 614, and the average reading was 576, and the average writing was 588. And they also do the ACT scores. So not only do they tell that, but they also tell on here their financial aid policy, and we'll go to that in a little bit later. But they show you how much need that they will meet. Some schools meet 100% of financial need. Some schools meet 40% of financial need. So it tells you on here what the financial aid might be like. Okay. So using that, they'll tell you like what the costs are, and you can find out, is the school affordable, and does the student fit into the average admitted student profile. Some schools also have financial aid calculators on their site that you just plug in some information, and they said if your child was accepted, this is how much financial aid you may get. Now, what they don't always tell you is the breakdown of that financial aid. Some schools give all grants. Some schools do grants, loans. Some add in a work-study component, and some expect students to work during the summer as well. So I know Elizabethtown, my niece was looking there, and they hid their financial aid calculator. And they said, well, people were getting the wrong amount. I was thinking, well, you should fix it then. I mean, why not, why hide it? But that was interesting to me. But a lot of schools, they'll have it right on their financial aid site. You can just plug in your information, and they'll tell you about how much financial aid you may receive. So once the child has a final list, to me, I think make it manageable. I've heard of kids that have like lists of 25 schools. It's really expensive to apply. Every school has an application fee. Some of them are $75. So I think pare them down. Get maybe one or two long shots, like if they have a dream school that they want to go in, it might be a little bit of a reach, but just include that. 2 or 3 possible schools where at least they have a 50% chance. And on that the data site for the colleges, it shows you a 25% to 75% range. They take all the freshman students, and they say, this is the mid-range from 20, and just to see if you're in that middle range. That kind of helps you know if you're in the ballpark. And then 1 or 2 good bet or safety schools. Schools that you're at the top, that you would definitely get in. And I also say like a financial safety school. Okay, you want to make sure you don't want your child to be disappointed they get into a school and then you're not able to afford it. So I think talk about these things before you get that final list. And then once you have the final list, you want to visit during the school year. I know my niece, she went during the summer, and it's different when there aren't students there. You want to be when the students are there. Can be like during the junior year. But Jeremy got drug along with Mary Beth. I mean, she's 4 years older, so every time we went on a college visit with her, he came along. So he kind of got used to that process. But you can start early. They're kind of neat. It's kind of fun to go to schools. It's just interesting seeing what they're like. So maybe if you're going on vacation somewhere and there's a school nearby that your child is interested in, then you can pop over and see that. But I think do an info session where they'll just tell you, and after a while they kind of sound the same, and also take a tour. And the tour at least will give you some exposure usually to one student, because usually they're student-led tours. So you can say like, oh, that person was interesting, or they can tell you what they're majoring in, or maybe you can find someone that's interested in what your child's interested in. If you have a specific academic area that you're interested in, you can ask to sit in on a class. Like we're going to Georgetown on Monday, and they had a whole list of classes that professors were okay with you sitting in on. But you had to, some of them you needed to email ahead of time, some you needed to be there 5 minutes ahead of time. But it just had the whole list. And so Jeremy's interested in public policy, so there's a political science class, so he's going to do the info session, the tour, and then he's going to sit in on the class. And parents, you don't go into the class. Okay, you can go to the coffee bar, get something to drink. So another thing to find out the inside scoop is just to pick up a college paper while you're there. Often it's put out by the students, and you kind of get more of a sense of really what's happening on campus. So like some of the books, they present them in a pretty positive light, but every school has conflicts that are going on, so it's good just to pick up a college paper. And some schools let you stay overnight when you're a senior, if you're an interested senior. And I know one girl, she went and there was so much partying. She said, Mom, everyone was drunk. She really just did not want to go to that school at all. So I think you get a sense of what the nightlife is like, and maybe if it's something you're looking for or something that you're not looking for.